Okay, this is Mike Merlin Means, Maryland Public Media, and today we are talking to.
Barrie James Barrie, the Lapidary instructor at the Kingman Mojave Community College.
And didn't we just do this, man? Didn't we just talk?
Yeah, we just talked.
So I take it there's a lot going on. So, like, fill me in, man. Fill in the blanks.
All right. So since last time we talked about a little bit of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and education was a big part of that. So I've been invited to be an instructor at the college here to teach people the lapidary arts, and we're also working with this other feller that's doing YouTube videos, and these YouTube videos that we went out and done is showing you how to go out and find these minerals out there for you to take home polish. Like we went out and found garnets. I found some indicator stones on a dirt road that had little itty bitty garnets in it, and we followed it up to the mountainside and located the seams, and pulled some garnets out of there. From a previous expedition in a different place, I had some garnets I cut and polished, and so I was able to show how we're taking it from the raw out of the ground back to the point of now it's a gemstone. A garnet is January's birthstone.
So it's called rock hounding, but what do you need in the way of tools?
So it kind of depends on what you're doing. If you're just going to be out walking around and just flipping rocks over, take yourself a big long screwdriver to flip the rocks over, dig it out, stuff like that. If you want to get more serious, you take a rock hammer with you. Then comes the chisels, and then the butterfly vices, and it just goes on and on and on. It just depends on how entailed you want to get into it. Everything has its purpose. So if you're going out looking for fire agate, you need a chisel and a hammer, and that's the basis stuff. If you're just going out looking for unakite, you can find top surface finds. So it just kind of depends on what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Okay, and so then you're teaching lapidary. So lapidary is what?
So lapidary is anything that basically grinding, sanding, polishing, forming, knapping, anything that's really moving a rock, changing it from one to another. So what I'm teaching right now is a form of lapidary. I'm teaching about making cabochons for jewelry and specimen polishing. So you cut a geode in half and you polish the face of it to a glass polish, so it's presentable. Same thing with the cabochons. Is we take a slab of whatever rock we're going to use and cut out our design, and then we shape that design on the wheels to a point where it's has that water polish or glass polish on
So
top.
What kind of tools does it take to do that first cut?
So we use trim saws. So the very first cut from a rough rock is a big oil saw. It's enclosed, and it's fed by a spring that pulls the rock through the saw, and you cut off slabs out of that. Then you take those slabs and then you trace out your design on you say you want an oval. You trace out an oval on your slab. Then you take that slab over to the smaller trim saws, cut off all the excess around that oval as close as you can get it to an oval, and then you take it and you put it on the dot pot. The dot pot is where there's heated wax. It's green wax, and it's heated, and you put your rocks on there and heat the rocks up. Then you take a wooden dowel and you stick it in the wax, and you get a little knob of wax on there, hot wax, and you stick it on the back of the rock and stick it down that way, and then you have a rock with the handle on it, and it holds really well. And then you go to the next steps of going to the cutting wheels, like 100 grit diamond cutting wheels, and that shapes your rock into the dome that you're looking for. And then once you get that dome, you go on to the next steps, the 280, 320, 400, 600, 800, 1200. You can go all the way up to 5,000 or more, and get that super high polish. So there's a lot. It seems like there's a whole lot to it, but once you understand how to move the stone and how to cut it, it just happens. You can start cutting cabochons in 20 minutes, and that's gemstone, piece of turquoise in 20 minutes.
Well, check. That's quick. Um, so my assumption is, and the higher the number, the higher the grit on your polishing. Is that it? That's finer quality polishing. The higher the number.
Yeah. So basically, imagine drawing a bunch of X's on top of each other inside your oval, and the more X's you draw, pretty soon that oval is completely covered with ink, and you can't see no more white spots on it, if you will.
Okay.
Basically, what you're doing is you're eliminating scratch after scratch. So it's taking a deep scratch, making it a less deep scratch, and you keep doing that all the way around, and then pretty soon you get to the point where you can't see scratches at all, and that's one of the things that I invented. It's called #NoScratchClub.
There you go.
And basically what that means is when you get to that point, that's when it goes from a hobby to you're at a professional mode where your stuff can be set in become a high-end gemstone.
So how long does it take a person to go from A to B? I've got this chunk of rock in my pocket, and I want to make a high-end gem. I want to be able to make a high-end gemstone. How much time am I going to have to invest in this?
I can have somebody cutting from a rough rock to a finished gemstone in about 8 hours. You'll be able to do it by yourself.
And say I want to do this at home. What's my investment?
If you want to do it at home,
Yeah, how much money am I have to put out if I want to do it at home?
okay. So if you want to cut gemstones at home with all the correct equipment, you're looking at an initial investment between $2,000 and $7,000, depending on how in depth you want to go.
Okay. And I'm assuming that the $2,000 to $7,000 investment. Once you're good, you can turn around and you can cover that in a short period of time.
Well, that's the beauty of it is it's kind of a special field to be in. You really have to love what you're doing and why you're doing it, and for the right reasons. And the fact of the matter is you will, if you invest your time and say you spend $3,000 on machines, and then you spend another $1,000 on high-end turquoise. Well, if you're good enough to cut that turquoise up into all gemstones and then market it, get it sold off for the correct prices, you could get back easily half of your initial investment. You could make a couple $1,000, $2,500, $3,000 possibly, depending on how you market it and what kind of stone it is. So within a couple turnovers, within a year's time, you can turn over 4 or 5 batches like that. And now you've made $10,000 and your investment is $6,000. So it's all in what you do with it. Some people just want to do it, and you can get a little 8-inch slant lap for $600, and then you can get a little saw for $800, and you can be into it for $2,000. And now you're cutting as a hobbyist. So it just depends on what level you want to take it to.
Okay, so I don't want to necessarily go out and buy, and I'm using some I guess insider terms because, well, as a silversmith, I've learned a lot of this, except the hands-on part. So if I don't want to go and scavenge for my rough, where do I go?
Well, that's another handy part of my world right now is I own mom and pop rock shop in Golden Valley, and I have rough there, and the reality is I'm connected to pretty much everybody that has minerals in this whole tri-state area. So if I don't got it, I can probably point to the person that does have it. We try and work as a community all together. What's best for our clients and our customers, and so if I don't got it, we can put you in the right direction to get basically whatever you want. But I
So,
do own a shop there, and it's at JV Swap Meet. You can find me at momandpoprockshop.com, and you can Google me too. We're on there.
so the classes, I assume at this point in time that the class is set and everyone is in place for this round. Is that true?
Yeah, so we're so my class is four classes. Um, it's four classes once a week every Monday. This is the first semester here, and so I'm guessing that they'll announce the next semester in the next week or two. And you can if you're interested in doing lapidary, you can go to the Mojave Community College KIngman campus. I'm thinking about going to the Bullhead City campus if I can get enough following. I'm going to head down there and teach some classes in Bullhead City as well. But right now we're just at the KIngman campus in KIngman.
So what's it going to cost me to take the class?
I believe it's $100.
Really,
$99.
that's it?
Yeah, I think it's $100.
That's not bad, man.
So and the reality is once that is a really tiny investment, just like the jewelry, the silversmithing class. It's really it's like the same price for the same type of classes. And Miss Delia, she's a top shelf teacher, years in the jewelry industry. So there's lots of stuff to find at these colleges. They're not credited, but what they are is they're enhancement classes. They're there to enhance your life. And learning a new trade, once you know how to cut a stone, it comes natural. It just starts to come to you. And so you learn something for life. And when you cut a stone, it's not like when you give your wife roses for Valentine's Day. If you cut a stone and learned how to set it in jewelry and give that to her, well, the reality of it is that's going to be a piece of jewelry for hundreds, if not thousands of years. The rock's never going to change again unless somebody changes it. So what you've done is that legacy of your giving is going to be there for a lifetime.
Okay, so I remember back, I took my first silversmithing class. It was quite some time ago. I had to literally go out in the first week and spend a lot of money. I needed saws, and I needed beeswax, and I needed bezel shapers, and I dropped myself my first class in silversmithing. Between my first and second class, I dropped about $200 and continued to add on as long as I was doing the work, which I haven't done in probably a decade. What do I need? What's my investment outside of my $100 for the class to do the lapidary? Do I got to bring in my own stones, or are you starting the beginners out with a sample type thing, or what?
So I've been pretty blessed. As soon as I started doing this, I've had people from across America and Canada reach out to me and donate stones to my class.
Wow.
So we're very blessed that people are reaching out, and they're pushing for people to better themselves and better the world out there by learning and finding their way. So we have stones there, but that's the beauty of it is my class. What I do is I teach. It's from 2 to 6. So from 2 to 4:30, I teach and I help with our projects, what we're working on at that moment, and so forth. From 4:30 to 5:30 is free cut time. That's the time where people come in and they bring the stones from home that they've always wanted to cut up and work and whatever projects they have in their heads. That's their time to work on that, and then I help them through with any questions they have about their projects through that. So the reality of it is your initial investment is a snack and a water bottle for yourself for your break time.
Okay. That's workable. And how many weeks long? How long is the class session?
4 weeks.
4 weeks, $100, huh? And how many times a week? Once on Monday?
Yep, Mondays. That's when our class is right now. Is on Mondays.
$25 a class, man. That's pennies to invest in your life.
Yeah, especially for something when it becomes a labor of love. You know what I mean? Is where you go to sleep at night and you're thinking about what your next design is, or your next box. You know, because lapidary just isn't cutting gemstones. It's carving. Like I'm working on a dragon's head made out of pink alabaster right now.
Oh,
That'll have sapphire eyes and rubies, and you know what I mean. It'll be really done up when I'm done with it. Um, and so it's all encompassing, from petroglyphs, arrowheads. I mean, it's all encompassing.
wow. I had a question. It went away because I was just caught up in all of that shit. Let me see if I can find it. And no, uh, I want to cut, and my health isn't wonderful, and I've told you before. I'm going to tell you again. You get down here to Bullhead, I guarantee you one student, guaranteed. And I will spread the word down here when the time comes, because I've done the silversmithing, and when I've carried a rock around with me, a finished piece, a cab or irregular cab or whatever, in my pocket, in my hand for days, trying to figure out what kind of jewelry that stone wanted to be. And that's how I did my silversmithing design. Is it similar with that? What you got yourself a piece of raw, and do you take some time? Do you wait for like the stone to tell you what it wants to look like? How do you go through that creative design process?
So there's two sides to that plate. There really is. So some things need to be calibrated, perfectly measured to fit certain designs or rings, or to replace broken stones, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
And then there's free form cutting, where you get an idea in your head of, okay, well, I want to cut this design, I want to make it look like this, and then you try and recreate that from your head, and but there's the fun in the second part is, sometimes you get something in your head where you want to make it this way, but the truth is the stone's going to tell you, like it or not, the way it wants to be cut. It's so I get this kind of, I listen to the stone when I'm doing free cutting. I do what the stone says. Like for instance, I cut this piece of, it's super rare. It's called parrot wing chrysocolla from Mexico,
Never
and,
heard of it.
and it's very rare. And I get this piece of it, the first slab I ever get, and I start cutting on it, whittling it down to make this kind of a S kind of, I don't know, shaped pear, kind of S shaped pear thing, and I start whittling down, and out of the stone, it didn't look the way, but when I started cutting it down, it started changing, and what it changed into was this kind of muddled colors all over the place, but they're bright muddled colors, blues and greens and bright reds and pinks and so forth. And it looks like a parrot wing. And once I got it cut down, it turned into this light blue ocean with bushes and with one of those big pink Hawaiian leaves or flowers.
Yeah, yeah. You're not going to get a name out of it. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So it turned into this like ocean, beautiful Hawaiian view instead. So that's where I stopped, and I polished it, and it's one of my favorite stones. Another one was, I was cutting a Laguna lace agate, and it had browns and little specks of red and stuff in there. Well, the farther I cut down into the stone, it turned into a beautiful sunset with reds and yellows around the sun.
Oh.
and then the lace agate part of it was all the swirly whites, so it looked like the sun going down in the clouds.
Oh man.
Um, and the lady that bought that, is she's just absolutely ecstatic with it. She's running around showing everybody. And I didn't know that was in the stone, and I've been doing this for a while. So when you're doing it, you're finding out how beautiful Mother Earth is, and what the gifts that it gives.
Okay, and so that's just a tangent. That's something I'm aware of, actually, more from the silversmith's point of view. Is some stones are, I don't want to use the word dangerous, but yet I'm going to cut and polish, and you have to have respiratory protection. My recollection is especially anything in the feldspars.
Yeah, feldspar is a tough one because it's the way it's plated.
That, and what was the malachite was supposed to be, you're supposed to, my understanding, use respiratory protection when you're working on malachite as well.
So there's several different stones, especially when you're importing them from different places. And so like malachite is a copper sulfate, so it has heavy metals in it, amongst other different toxic materials. So and like bumblebee jasper, that's one. That one's what is it? Arsenic. The yellow one, it's arsenic. So you're not supposed to wear it on your skin, nothing like that. But it's a really beautiful stone, black and yellow. You know what I mean? Some brilliant images in them, and sometimes. But then it goes back to like the simple stuff that everybody cuts. Agates. Everybody loves to cut an agate up. Well, one of the biggest diseases that comes from lapidary is a disease called silicosis. And silicosis is when you're inhaling all these microparticulates and it gets in your lungs. Well, they're stone microparticulates. It basically clogs your lungs up with glass, if you will.
Okay.
And that'll put you out of business. So whether you're cutting a toxic rock or whether you're cutting a non-toxic rock like an agate, you should always wear some sort of protection, eye protection, breathing protection. But nowadays, years ago, they did all this stuff dry. It was all dry cut and dry polish. Now they've incorporated into all the machines, everything's done wet. So it really, really cuts down on the particulates by 80.
Oh, okay. See, that's new to me. I'd never heard of doing it wet. When I peeked in the lapidary classes down here, like I said, well, a long time ago, everything was dry and abrasion. Everything was abrasion work.
Yeah. So that's where it started changing, and in the 80s, the 70s and 80s, basically the people that had all these water driven machines, that was their business. They were gem cutters. That's what they did. Then it became a little more affordable, where people could start picking up machines that you can take a rough piece of stone and turn it into a gemstone for $600-700. So it became more affordable to the common person, which I'm thankful for.
Well, it's good to see any business grow, especially if it makes it affordable to the masses and, a little healthier. I have particular concerns about respiratory things and that. So that takes one little worry off of me when it comes down to learning, is working in a wet environment versus a dry. So I don't have to, hurt these lungs any more than they already are. So
Yeah.
the class, how do people get a hold of this school to get on the class for the next semester?
So
or the next session?
So you just head over to the hop on Google and look up Mojave Community College lapidary class, and that'll give you the options. It'll take you to their website. That'll give you the options to sign up there.
Okay, and mom and pop rock shop.
Pardon?
And let's go to mom and pop rock shop. We need to buy stones to cut. So where do you find that?
So mom and pop rock shop's 4247 Highway 68, Golden Valley, Arizona. We're located in JV Swap Meet, space number 13.
Lucky 13.
Yep.
It seems to be working for you, man. It used to be considered a lucky number way back in the day.
Yep. Well, it is. I'm telling you. Some of the best things happened under that.
Back here watching you grow, man, and it just makes me happy.
Yeah, bro. Thanks. Appreciate that.
You let us know if you're getting down to Bullhead, because I'm trying to drag a few people down there with me, because I was a pretty good silversmith, but I always looked at the lapidary people going, man, I don't know what you got going on, but I don't think I could do that. But you know what? I need to give it a try.
Well,
I need to give it a go.
You know, it's a lot of people don't know the way to the top of the mountain until someone shows them the trail.
Yeah. This is where teachers come in. Good people like you.
Well, I appreciate it.
So what do you want to leave us with, man?
Hey, you know what I want to leave you with is what I tell everybody in my world right now. I want you to be well. I want you to be brave, and I want you to be an adventurer. With that, I thank you for having me on again, man. And anything that comes up, we'll let you guys know. If I decide to come down to Bullhead, we'll do that. But be well, everybody.
All right, man. We're going to say goodnight here, but I'd like a couple minutes of your time after the interview is over.
You got it, brother.
Okay, so I'm going to wrap this. Mike Merlin Means, ending another episode of Arts Talk with the brand new lapidary instructor for Mojave Community College in KIngman, Arizona. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.